Homage to the fundamental teacher Buddha Shakyamuni, homage to the wisdom warrior Manjushri, homage to all the lineage benevolent masters. The Dharma, infinitely profound and subtle, is rarely encountered even in the million eons. Now we are able to hear, study, and follow it. May we fully realize the Tathagata's true meaning. In order to liberate all sentient beings from samsara, please generate the supreme bodhicitta. This is the last lesson on the praises to the 21 Taras. By the end of this lesson, the noble qualities of the 21 Taras and benefits of this practice will be introduced completely. I can expound this praise in detail as there are sadhanas and texts of the Tara practice in both Chinese and Tibetan. However, the main purpose of my teaching this time is to briefly introduce to you the extraordinary benefits of Tara practice. Thus, I hope that you can apply what you have learned in these lectures in your daily lives. If possible, I hope that practitioners in monasteries, Dharma centers, and other Buddhist groups can recite this praise as well. I noticed that many of you could recite this praise fluently. This is important as this prayer is often recited in Dharma assemblies in the Tibetan region. So it's best that you can recite it in Tibetan. This praise is commonly recited in Dharma assemblies in India and other places as well. Some Dharma friends can chant it very well after attending a Dharma assembly elsewhere. There hasn't been a tradition of reciting this praise in mainland China before. Now we have two melodies to recite this praise in Chinese, and you can choose either tune. Both chantings that are performed by the monks or the nuns work fine. I hope that you can spread this praise extensively in monasteries and Dharma centers in the mainland China. If the sound of praising Tara can spread across different Buddhist groups, I believe that many obstacles related to Dharma propagation will be removed, whereas favorable conditions for individuals' practice will gather. So I will encourage you all to make an effort for it. Now, let's continue with the praises to the 21 Taras. As I mentioned previously, many precedented masters had an auspicious connection with Tara. During the course, we don't have enough time to introduce the experiences of general practitioners who had received Tara's blessing. But I had shared with you a few cases of those great masters. Many masters in India and Tibetan regions had lots of miraculous experiences with Tara. One of them being Bhavideva, the author of the 50 stanzas on following a teacher. We may learn this treatise in the future. It's said that his composition of the 50 stanzas on following a teacher was very much related to the blessing of Tara. At first, his Dharma activity wasn't too influential, though he was expertise in Buddha Dharma. So he wanted to make a pilgrimage to a statue in eastern India. To get to that place, he needed to cross the ocean. He was captured during his voyage by some inhabitants from a certain remote island and was taken to the island that they resided. He suffered a lot mentally because he could neither teach the Dharma nor benefit beings. He prayed to Tara wholeheartedly, and Tara appeared in his dream and instructed him. Just sleep with your head towards the direction you want to go, then you will arrive there. He was very eager to go back to his homeland, so he slept with the head towards his homeland accordingly. When he woke up, he surely returned to his hometown. But as he returned to his monasteries, great changes had taken place. Many great masters had passed away. Young monastics were influenced by new trends of thought. It was even more challenging than before for Bhavideva to expand his Dharma activity. Feeling upset and annoyed, he attributed the failure of his Dharma activity to the islanders who created adverse troubles for him. To vent his anger and revenge those beings, he made the threatening gesture and recited the wrathful mantras. The island where the inhabitants resided sank into the ocean. Later, Bhavadeva felt really regretful about his misdeeds. In order to purify this grave negativity, he resolved to prostrate from India to Mount Utai, the sacred place that Manjushri resides. But Tara told him in his dream that only by prostrating to Mount Utai cannot purify your karmic debts. If you really want to purify this negativity, you need to compose a treatise that could guide people to attain Buddhahood swiftly. This can purify your negative karma. After years of meticulous contemplation, Bhavadeva realized that among all practices, the swiftest way to attain Buddhahood is to rely on qualified Dharma teachers appropriately. That's why he composed the 50 stanzas on following a teacher. Although this treatise is very brief, it was written under the instruction of Tara. This work provides a collection of profound pith instructions, which is essential for attaining Buddhahood in one lifetime. After attaining accomplishments in Tara practice, a lot of masters of the past also made breakthroughs in their own practice, as well as in the expansion of their Dharma activities. Many Dharma friends here genuinely wish to complete your Dharma practice smoothly in your lives. More than that, some aspire to do what you can to benefit beings and propagate the Dharma. Yet your abilities may fall short of your expectation. In that case, it won't help, no matter how eager you wish to achieve your goal. It must be done with skillful means, one of which is to pray to Tara. To benefit beings with Tara practice is very effective. There are plenty of stories about Tara in India and Tibetan region. Here's another story from a biography of a Tibetan master. It is a story of Gyaltse Tokme Sampo, the author of the 37 practices of all the Bodhisattvas. I translated his biography into Chinese before. Once he left his hometown to Lhasa and was walking along a big river. He saw 7 or 8 people crossing the river on the horseback. Suddenly, they were all pulled away by the torrents when crossing the center. Tokme Example was so worried that he prayed to Tara immediately. Miraculously, the whole group reemerged to the surface and quickly arrived at the bank, except for one man and his horse. They were all safe and sound except that one man and his horse. When the man and his horse were about to be engulfed by the water, a tall man in white pulu with a grass belt around his waist appeared behind Tokme Example out of nowhere. He said eagerly, "I will go save them." And he dived right into the river, swam to the person, and pulling up to the bank. After the man and his horse arrived at the riverbank safely, the tall man in white disappeared without anyone noticing. Everyone was astounded by this, as well as Tokmezambo. Tokmezambo asked, "What just happened? What a miracle!" Those beside him replied, "It should be the blessing of Tara. The man should be a manifestation of Tara." Tokmezambo agreed, "It should be the blessing of Tara. As long as we pray devotedly, the three jewels will never deceive us." In our daily lives, when obstacles or adverse conditions occur to oneself or a group, it is of vital importance that we pray to Tara. Also, individuals who often run into unfavorable conditions or some tricky problems that require immediate solution should pray to Tara. This is crucial. I'm sure that you will have your own experiences when praying to Tara. Then, maybe we can compile a book of your special experiences for praying to Tara. However, we must be sure that the experiences collected are all truthful. It should be alright to share these stories if they are authentic. In biographies of many former masters, their miraculous experiences related to Tara and other deities are recorded.
我想那个就是大家呢，就是应该是好好的啊，就是随时随地都是就是要这个祈祷度母。
I think we should pray to Tara sincerely at all times,
解除自他的一切痛苦。
so the suffering of ourselves and others can be dispelled. Please take note of this.
其实我们这个祈祷的时候呢，就是度母师，就是平时在这个我们的这个身边呢。
In fact, Tara is with us all the time.
就是弟子啊，就是方宇教授有一个女性的方宇。
Professor Yu Fang, a female Chinese student of NOLA who talked to, had lived for about 100 years. She had gained an accomplishment in the practice of Tara. There is an analogy that she often used in which she referred Buddha Amitabha as the president, Avalokiteshvara as the provincial governor or the mayor, whereas Tara being the neighborhood officer. She said, "It's rather difficult to have the president, the provincial governor, or the mayor to fix your problems, but it is fairly easy to find a neighborhood officer for help." This is an emanation of both Amitabha and Avalokiteshvara, and we can seek her help anytime. This is kind of a mundane analogy, but it suggests that the manifestations of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are inconceivable. Tara is no different from Amitabha and Avalokiteshvara. She will bestow her blessing for everything in our daily lives. So, pray to Tara in all circumstances. Tibetans seek help from Tara with all kinds of things. Even when a thief is about to steal, he will pray to Tara to make sure that he could come back unharmed.
Now
we will continue with the third topic of B3, praise for her activities, which is C3, praise for the activity of cleansing poisons. Homage to you, who hold in your hand a moon clear and bright as a divine lake, with Tara twice, and then with Pat. You totally cleanse all poisons. Here, who are we paying homage to? Tara Mahamayuri or Droma Mabja Chenmo, the Tara who is majestic as the great Pehan. or the Tara who cleanses poisons. Peihan has the power to neutralize all poisons, whether it is the venom of Nagas or ailment caused by the Nagas. So, in some texts, this Tara is called Tara majestic as the great Peihan, or the Tara who cleanses poisons. This Tara is white in color. Who hold in your hand a moon clear and bright like a divine lake means that she holds the stem of an Uttala flower on which there is a clear and bright full moon. The full moon is as bright as the lake of the white nectar in the celestial realm. So, the moon on the Uttala flower is as bright and clear as a lake of nectar in the God's realm. The moonlight can dispel the three inner poisons of greed, hatred, and ignorance of all these, and counteract all the outer toxicants like mixed poisons, food poisons, and poisons infected simply by seeing a certain kind of venomous nagas. All toxicants can be counteracted by the radiance of this moon. With Tara twice and then with Pat refers to the way to recite her mantra. The mantra consists of Tara twice and Pat once. It is Om Dare Dudare Dure Sara Visha Tara Pat. It is longer than the root mantra of Tara, Om Dare Dudare Dure Soha, by adding Soha Pisha Tara Pat before Soha. So, this mantra has double Tara and one Pat. It will be Om Dare Dudare Dure Soha Pisha Tara Pat Soha. It's okay to have Soha here by reciting this mantra with Tara twice and then Pat. You totally cleanse all of the poisons. Among all the outer, inner, and secret poisons, the poison of self-grasping is the most terrifying one. All ordinary beings are harmed by it. So we need to remove this poison as well as all poisons from the external environment. We should pray to Tara to protect us from being contaminated both mentally and physically. All kinds of poisonous conditions can be remedied through the blessing of this Tara. In other words, all hostile conditions caused by poisons can be eliminated by the blessing of this Tara. There's a story in India. Once, there was a very beautiful prostitute who was very pleasing to her clients. With her lovely appearance, she attracted many people. Once, a merchant gave her a necklace of 500 pearls to spend one night with her. The prostitute accepted and was preparing to go to the merchant's house. She set off at nightfall, and there was a forest on her way. Halfway through, she got tired and took a break under a tree. Unexpectedly, a venomous snake snuck up and coiled itself around the lady. Her greediness for the date was soon replaced by a great fear. Then she recalled that praying to Tara would remove all obstacles, including the harm from poisonous snakes. So she prayed to Tara desperately. And soon, a sense of compassion arose in the snake's mind and it released the girl. No matter what kind of danger we are in, we need to pray to Tara.
说法，就是也有这样的这个说法。
There's another story in
17岁的
India.
这个少女呢，就是路过的时候啊，就看见就是
A young girl
其实
met
印度
a
的
mad
很大
elephant
就是
on her
她就
way to gather
马上就
flowers
看
in
见
the
人的时候
forest.
呢，就是用这个
This
四肢
elephant
就是
was
拍
so
死
out
这
of
个，并
control
且呢，
that
就是
it
她的那个
trampled
鲜血呢
anyone
是
it
到
met
处
to
都是在
death.
这个像这个
The
棉花刺一样
bloodshed
的
was
就是随便
terrifying as
那么
sight.
这个时候就是他用自己的这个那个大象啊，就是用鼻子就是卷起就是那个
The
少女的这个
elephant caught the
身体
girl
啊，
with its
就
trunk
正在就是让这个准备杀害她
and
的
was
时候呢，
about to
他就
kill her.
突然就是在心里面就是让这个生气就起到杜牧的这种这个
Suddenly, the
念
young
头。
girl
他一起到
remembered
杜
the
牧的
name of
时候呢，
Tara
当
and
时
prayed to her
在大象的相续
wholeheartedly.
当中呢，就是升起这种慈爱的这个
Compassion
心，
arose
然后
within
呢，
the
就是接
elephant's
下来
mind
就是把这个少
and
女
it
呢，
was
就是
brought under
就是
control.
放在一个这个人来
Then
人
the
往的一个
elephant
这
set
个
her
一级城
down
市
in
当
the
中，
town
然后呢，就是
marketplace
向她
and
这个敬礼，
prostrated to
然后
her.
以后呢，就是把这个少女呢，就是她带到这个寺院里面，就是向
It
她进
picked
行
up the
这个
girl
敬礼。
to the
然后以后
temple
把
and
她带到这
prostrated
个
again.
皇宫里面，就是大象呢，就是向她进行敬礼。
Lastly,
后来
the
呢，
elephant
就
brought
是
her
因为
to
这
the
个皇
gate
宫
of
这
the
个
palace.
这个王子的话呢，就是更要这个就是要这个接近
The
这个结
prince
婚
of
的
the
这个时
country
候啊，
was
后
at
来
the
呢，
right
就
age
是
for
他们呢
marriage.
就开始觉得是就是像大象的是顶礼的这样的具有福报的，那么就是这个女子
People
的
were
话呢，
convinced
就是
that
应
the
该
girl
配得
must
上
be of
这个
great
王
merits
子，
that
就
the
后来呢，
elephant
就
showed
变
such
成了这个王
respect.
妃啊，就变成了
The
王妃。
king
所以
then
说
wed
呢，
the girl
像
to the
那个杜牧
prince.
的这种加持的话呢，就是一般的
So
一个非常普通的
anyone,
人呢，就是
any
如果就
ordinary
是一心祈
person,
祷的话呢，
if
其实
praying
杜
to
牧的
Tara
这个传
sincerely,
颂里面也是就是
will
讲
receive
讲
her
的，就
powerful
是如果
blessing.
你想得字的话呢，就是得这个字；如
As
果
it
你
is
想得
mentioned
财
in
呢，
the
就
praise,
是可以得财；
every
如
wish
果你
of
想
ordinary
得这
beings
个
can be
什么这
fulfilled
个
as
地位
long as
啊，
we
就是
pray to
财，
Tara
还有这个世
earnestly.
间的各种各样的
Whether
一
it's
些
the wish
人
for
们就
having
是需要的，
children,
就是所谓
wealth,
的平安、所
status,
谓的快
or for
乐、所
being
谓的这
safe,
些健
happy
康
and
等等，就是
healthy,
这些呢，
all
都
of
是
these
依
can
靠
be
杜牧的
fulfilled
加
by the
持来就
blessing
是
of
可以获
Tara.
得的。就像我们汉传佛教
In
当中呢，
Han
就是其实这
Buddhism,
个观世音菩萨、诸部救难大
Avalokiteshvara
慈
is the
大悲
one who
观世音
helps
菩
the
萨，
needy
那么
ones
他
and
呢，就是
relieves
也
those
是
in
用
distress
相当
with
也是
great
这个
love and
杜牧
compassion.
就是那样的，就是他可能不仅是这个省长和市
So,
长，他
besides
其实
being
呢
the provincial
观音菩萨
governor
也
or
是
the
就是
mayor,
杜牧不上
the
班的时
role
候
of
呢，也是到这
Avalokiteshvara
个
sometimes
街道办公
resembles
室
that
里
of
面去这个
Tara.
当主任啊，就是
When Tara is
也有
off
这样的。
work,
所以这个
Avalokiteshvara
杜牧呢，
also
就是
works as the
就是
neighborhood
有
officer
很多
to
的
solve
这
our
种实
problems.
践当中的一些功
Tara
功德啊，
possesses
就是大
many
家应
noble
该
qualities
这
to
样这个
fulfill our worldly
明白，就
wishes,
是明白以
which
后
we
的话
should
呢，
know
我们
of.
对这个杜牧啊，就是会这
Knowing
个升起
this,
信
the
心，
devotion
甚
to
至我们
Tara
在路
will
上碰到
arise
一
in
些
us.
石头这个做的
Even
这
when
个
we
石像
see
也好，
stone-made
木刻
or
的这
wooden
个木像也
statues
好，或者是画家画的，就
or
是
tankas
这
of
个
Tara,
坦卡，就是任何一个塑像的话呢，那么应该大家这个升起这
we
种
should feel
欢喜心
joyous
啊，
and
就是升
generate
起这种这个
veneration.
恭敬心。那么依靠这个恭敬心和欢喜心呢，
With
佛
such
教学当中的
veneration
这
and
些
joy,
这个唯愿
our
可以产生。
obscurations
有时候
can
我
be
们可以
dispelled.
看到这个历史上的一些
Sometimes
大
we
德
can
啊，其实
see
这些
those
大德
great
的话呢，
masters in
可能在
history
这个年轻的时
whom
候
at
呢，就
their
是应
young
该是
age
跟其他
appear
的就
just
是
as common
普
as
通的人
ordinary
呢，就是
men.
应该有比较这个相同的地方啊，就是也许是可能完全是相同，就像米拉日巴
Or
前所说的那
they
样，
might be what
也许
Milarepa
相同，
said,
但是这些
they
大
were
德
just the
上面
same
自
as
己的这个
others
苦
before
修
practicing the
同
Dharma.
时呢，他有很多这个
However,
僧人啊、护法
through
神
their
啊、有精神
persistence
啊，他们的
practice,
这个护
as
持
well
和
as
保
the
佑，这
protection
样
and
以后的
blessing
话
from
呢，就是一个
deities,
人也是
Dharma
弘法利
protectors,
生的
and
事业，就是
dakinis,
一展开以后呢，
their
就是
Dharma
无法这
activities
个
became
其
incomparably
他人这个
vast.
相比拟，就像我们仁波切在
Just as
二轨教
Nibbana
原理里
Rinpoche
面所
said
讲
in
的
the
一样的，就
treatise
是如果
on the
真的
modes
是有
of
一些
being,
本尊啊、护法神啊，就
when
是
one
来这
has
个
the
相助
support
保
and
佑你，
protection
那
from
这个时候
deities
呢，
and Dharma
虽然是
protectors,
他是一种这个独自一人，但是
even
他的
one
这
is
种
by
能力，
him or
他的各
herself,
方面的这种这
his
个
or
威
her
力的话呢，就是
capability
远
and
远超
power
过就是超
can
太上
surpass
的
that of
啊，就这一
thousands
点
of
呢，我
people.
们也是就是应该是这个有
I
目共
think
睹的
this
事
is
情，所以
unquestionable
大
to
家
all of
一
us.
定要就是自己 从内心当中呢，就遣除一切这个怀疑
We
啊、
should
邪
dispel
念啊、
all
邪
the
见啊
doubts
等
and
等
wrong
等，
views about
然后
Buddhas
呢，
and
就是一定要建
Bodhisattvas.
立一个特别就是正确的这种境
Instead,
界
we
啊，
must
然后呢，
establish
就
right
是经
views
常这个祈祷啊，
towards
在
these
生活当
noble
中呢，
beings
就是
by
经常
Buddha's
这个
teachings
祈祷，就是就
and
是
pray
本身的从
consistently
最
in
后
our
面上
daily
还是应该
lives.
可以的，就是从小也许可能是这个环境的这个影响吧，就是不管是什
Perhaps
么，只要有一
influenced
点
by
时
the
间的时候呢，
environment
就
where I
是对
grew
所
up,
有的这些
I
诸佛菩
always
萨呢，
have
就是非
immense
常有这
faith
个
and
信心，
joy
非常有
towards all
欢喜心，
Buddhas and
那么只要
Bodhisattvas.
有控制适合呢，就是 就经常就是自然而
Whenever
然
I
就
have a
想起
little
来，就是
time,
对他
I
们
will recollect
这
and
个
pray
祈
to
祷
them.
啊，就是包括他们的这个像啊，就是这个坦克
Whenever
也
I
好，
see
或
their
者是塑
figures,
造的像，
may it be
在任何一个
tankas
环
or
境当中，就
statues,
看到的时候呢，就是心里产生一种无
I
比
feel
的这种这个
extremely
喜悦之
joyful.
情。这也是我自己认为呢，是一种这个小小的这个善
I
根的。
think
其实
that
我们
this
每
is
个
a
人呢，
small root
也
of
是应
virtues
该
of mine.
就是要
It's
这个
very
传习
important
这
to
种这个善
everyone
念，就是
to
传习这样
cultivate
的善
such
念很重
virtuous
要。
roots
下面呢就是
and
讲到了
habituate
就
ourselves
是说
with
第
virtuous
四个啊，就
thoughts.
是第四个是那个
C4.
前除
Praise for
真
the
毒
activity for
真毒恶
clearing
魔
away
而战他，就
conflicts
是
and
这个前除这
nightmares.
个真毒恶魔而战他。敌你天王所敬慕，
Homage
天
to
人
you,
非
who
人
is
先
honored
意
by
志。
divine kings
披
and
甲
served
欢
by
喜智
gods
为
and
德，
non-human
前除
spirits.
真毒与恶
Armored
与
with the
恶魔。
splendor of joy, you
那
clear
么
away
就
nightmares
刚
and
才
soothe
就是
away
这个呢，就是
strife.
叫做是天王所敬慕，就是或者说是大白
This
三
Tara
根木，就
is
是也可
called
以叫这个
Tara
大白三根木
Ajitarajni
啊，就是我们这
or
个
Droma
其实
Mipangyamo,
这
the Tara who
个
is honored
杜
by
牧的话
divine
呢，就是
kings.
从这个发声角
She
度
is
看呢，
also
就是它
called
是那个
Siddhartha
普贤，
Patra,
就是
the
普
one
贤
with the
父母
white
啊，就是普贤
parasol.
父母。然后从这个报身这个上面呢，就是
From the
它也可以
Dharmakaya
成为
aspect,
这个金刚汉
Tara
或者
is
是金刚
Samanta
父母释迦
Badri.
牟。然后从化身层面
From
呢，
the
就是显
Sambhagakaya
现为这个
aspect,
妙音天女啊，
she
就是
is
当到这个时间的
Vajravarahi
很多女性
or
这个
Vajrayogini.
天女啊，就是
From the
这个吉祥
Namanakaya
天女啊，
aspect,
妙音
she
天女啊，就是
appears
当
as
到一切
Swasti,
这个女性的。
Paudan
因此呢，
Lamo,
我们这个
and
祈
many
祷的
other
这个杜牧的
goddesses.
本体的话呢，就是应该是个法宝法身是无二
The
无别
three
的。
kayas
那
of
么这样的
Tara
这
are
种
inseparable.
这个白三盖啊，就是白三盖这个就是这个杜牧呢，实际上是所有的
This
这个天王，
Tara,
就是像地神天啊、
Siddhartha
大
Patra,
自
is
在天呐，以
venerated
及
by
这
all the
个
kings of
什
the
么边
host
如
of
天呐，
divine
就是
beings,
那么就是所
such
有
as
的这些
Indra,
天王呢，就是没有一个不
Maheshvara,
恭
and
敬的，
Vishnu.
都是像天王的恭
They
敬的话
all
呢，
honor
那
her.
人王就更不用说了，这什么国
Since
家主
even
席
the
啊、
divine
总统
beings
啊，还有
revere
这个
Tara highly,
什么这个总
it
理
is
啊，就
without
是
doubt
国
that
王
human
啊，就是
kings,
这些都是应该
national
就是像
presidents,
这
prime
个杜牧基
ministers
尼啊，就
should
是不管是
venerate
任何一
Tara
个国
as
家的
well.
首相呢，我觉得是他们应该就是像天界的
Whichever
天王都要
national
顶礼
leader
的话
it
呢，
is,
就更何
he
况
or
是我们
she
这
should
个
follow
人
the
间的。
divine
人间的
kings
其
to
实
pay
是这个
homage
即
to
使一个人
Tara.
头应该就是也没有
Considering that
没有
leaders
什
of
么吧，就是应
mankind
该是这
only
样
lead
想的。
at most
还有这
several
个
billion of
天
people,
人啊，就是
they
这
are
个天
incomparable
人
to the
和
celestial
这个
kings
时间
who
当中还
lead
有
a
什么
retinue
山
of
神呐、
numerous
河神
gods.
呐、这个宿神呐、就是有很多的这种
In
神呐、
addition,
还有这个
gods,
废人，
worldly
包括一些
spirits
阿修
such
罗
as
啊，
mountain
还
spirits,
有一
river
些这个
spirits,
夜叉、
tree
就是
spirits,
罗刹，就
Kinnaras,
是恶鬼撒旦，就
Asuras,
是世间当中的
Yakshas,
所有的这些众
Rakshas,
神呐、
and
没有
hungry
一个不
ghosts,
恭敬
and
的，没
more,
有一个不
all
恭敬的。
venerate
所
and
以，
take
当我
refuge
们
in
就是遇到了
Tara.
一些就是世间当中，就是不管是你觉得这
Therefore,
是一种
when
恐怖
you
的
are
这
caught
种
up in
这
certain
个
frightening
现象啊，这
circumstances,
个时候你
you should pray to
马上
Tara
啊，这个祈祷
immediately.
度母，就是有这样的话呢，那么世间的一
With
切
her
的这种
blessing,
鬼神和非
disturbances
人
from
和或者说
non-human
是
beings,
其他的这个
malicious
什
spirits,
么这个
or
灵魂
ghosts
呐，就
will be
各种附体
pacified.
呀。我们现在很多这个有些这个说各种各样的一些这个非人啊，
Nowadays,
那么这
there are
些
all
呢，
kinds
就
of
全部都是
disturbances
以
from
这个干
demonic
扰啊。以
influences.
前有些人经常说是有附体，我都经
Some
常给
people
他们就是
often
建
talk
议让
about
他
being
们念这
possessed
个
by
杜母
malicious
信咒啊，
non-human
让杜母
spirits,
信咒的话呢，
and
就
my
是应该是
suggestion to
遣除
them
一些
is
非
to
人的这
recite
个
the Tara
危害，
mantra,
甚至我
as
们有
it
时
can
候呢，
dispel such
就
kind
是
of
可能
harm.
做的这个噩梦啊，就
Tara
是或
can
者说
also
是
help
就
to
随
drive
随
away
性
our
就是中毒
nightmares,
啊，这些都是
pacify
这个
our
杜母
physical
可以
and
这个
mental
建筑的。
discomforts.
也就是说呢，就是披上这样的这个铠甲，就是披上什么样的
So,
铠甲
we
呢？
should
我
put
们
on
就
the
心
armor
里
of
面呢，就是经
protection,
常这个观想，就是杜牧的
which
身
is to
像的这个
visualize
这个
Tara's
心里的这
appearance
样的
in
这
our
个披上
mind.
铠甲。还有呢，就是课里面呢，就是经常念诵21
Recite the
章、
praises
21
to
杜
the
牧章，
21
或者说
Taras
是念他
or
的咒
the
语的
mantra
这
of
这样的
Tara
这个铠甲。
regularly.
如果有这样的话呢，那么就是对这个杜牧法门的这个欢喜心，对杜牧
With
法
the
门的这
power
个
of our
信心，对
delightfulness,
杜牧法门的这个
devotion,
恭
and
敬心啊，
veneration to
以这
Tara,
个为得你的话呢，就是能这个遣除啊实践当中的各种各样的这个战争，国
we
家
will
与
be
国家之间，
protected from
那么这
wars
个
and
民族与民
disputes
族之
between
间，人与
countries,
人之
races and
甚至的
families,
话呢，就是这一
as
家
well
和
as
我一
conflicts
家之
among
间，
Dharma
然后
friends.
道友与道友之间呢，有时候是我们这个人呢，心
When
里
we
面
are
就是有一些
influenced
这
by
个产生
malicious
一些悖
non-human
论的
spirits,
这个危害的话呢，就经常呢就是看不惯这个，经
we
常看
will
不惯那个，
become
就
very
包括我们
critical of
学佛法的
others.
一些出家
This
人也
can
好，有些
happen to
居士的话
Buddhists
呢，
monastics and lay practitioners alike. They despise others in their minds, yet they still smile at each other when they meet, only that it's a false smile. Their inner feelings can be detected. Such disharmony is a form of small war. Normally, big wars are wars between countries, like the World War I and World War II, but between some family members, they have their own World War I and World War II. Some of the family members have been completely defeated in these wars. In terms of having nightmares, it can happen due to various reasons. Some of them are caused by the physical imbalance of the four elements, and some by harms of malicious non-human spirits or karmic creditors. These harms can be relieved or eliminated through the blessing of Tara. When some Dharma friends have a nightmare, "Oh, I had a nightmare last night and it seems not good. What should I do?" Even if the nightmare suggests omniscient signs, it can be dispelled by Tara's swift blessing. Nowadays, wars are happening around the world from time to time. If we pray to Tara, it will help end the wars and promote world peace. Yet, if the war is inevitable, praying to Tara helps one to gain victory. It's said that in ancient India, there were two kings who fought for many years. One king was named Kumicha and the other was Ashoka. King Ashoka had a strong military and considerably good weapons. In many aspects, King Ashoka was stronger than King Kumicha. So he was confident to defeat King Kumicha and became a little relaxed. However, King Kumicha came up with an idea. He called up all his generals and soldiers to pray to Tara for 7 days. Altogether, they recited the praises to the 21 Taras for 100,000 times. Some Indian troops would do so at that time. So when the two troops fought again, King Ashoka noticed that King Kumicha's troops became much stronger than before. Also, while they were fighting, a great number of female warriors in black appeared in King Kumicha's troops and fought ferociously. Their faces were fearsome and horrifying. Ashoka's soldiers couldn't fight them off and lost the battle. It's very likely that Tara liberated and transferred the consciousness of the dead soldiers to pure realms. I'm not completely certain about this, but one thing for sure is that Tara will never harm sentient beings. This story shows Tara's immediate response to beings' request. As long as one prays to Tara devotedly, she would definitely reach out even if it's a villain. In the time of ancient India, there was a Theravada bhikshu. He rejected Mahayana teachings, burned lots of Mahayana texts in the fire, and slandered Tantrayana. This irritated the king, who demanded that the bhikshu should be punished. When the king's men came to arrest him, the bhikshu felt terribly scared and went before a stone statue of Tara nearby that he saw before and prayed to her. Besides the statue, there was a small ditch. As he prayed, the statue started to speak, "Get into the ditch." The bhikshu thought, "It is too small to fit in my body. How is it possible for me to hide there?" However, having no time to think too much, the bhikshu got into the ditch. He hid there and successfully escaped from the search of the king's man. Thereafter, he generated a strong faith in Tara. It seems that Tara will extend her help to those who slander Mahayana teachings. In fact, whoever prays to her will receive her response due to her unfailing vows. Gradually, beings whom Tara had helped will become regretful for what they had done and confess their misdeeds. So I think whatever we encounter in life, be it a nightmare or an adverse situation, we should pray to Tara immediately. When I was young and herding yaks, there were times that I couldn't find my yaks. Then I would pray to Tara. Sometimes I feel embarrassed that I had to trouble Tara with small matters like this. But it had become a habit to pray to Tara whenever I'm worried. And her blessing is indeed very powerful. But we should not lose faith in Tara if things don't turn out the way we expected after praying to her. Because when your karma has fully ripened, you need to experience it. No one, not even Tara, could alter it, as the effect has matured. But if there is a slight chance to make a change, Tara will help us. The more sincere we are, the swifter her blessing is. As mentioned in the teaching on the 7-line prayer, if you have a strong feeling and genuine sincere devotion when praying, whether it's to Tara or Pamasambhava, they will resonate with your prayers and respond. However, if you don't have any feelings, even worse, you doze off when reciting the mantra. Will you receive her response? Undoubtedly, merely reciting the mantra also accumulates merit. Yet, whether one attains accomplishments in Yidam practices or not is very much related to one's conduct and attitude. Above explains C4. Now, C5. Praise for the activity of pacifying plagues and diseases. Homage to you, whose 2 eyes shine with luster, bright with the fullness of the sun and moon. With twice utter Hara and Dudare, you pacify the most intractable plagues and diseases. 那么这个叫做是，也叫做是南若度母，就是阿南若的，就是南若度母，也有这种说法。还有呢，This Tara is called Tara Sabari or Brahmaritroma. Tara, the dweller in the mountains, or Tara for pacifying plagues. 这个深色是应该是这个。 She is yellow-red in color, holding an utala flower on which is a jewel container full of immortal nectar. The nectar can heal contagious diseases and plagues that make sentient beings suffer. Her 2 eyes are bright with radiance of sun or full moon. The radiance can dispel all kinds of suffering and diseases of beings. With twice utter Hara and Dudare, suggests the way to recite her mantra. By reciting the mantra with Dudare and Hara twice, all the deadly epidemics and contagious diseases can be annihilated. Her mantra is
哈拉苏哈，南无对，我们达里得达里就是这个是前面我们达里得达里就这个是一样的。然后呢说南无哈拉赫拉哄啊，就哈拉
The former part, Om Dari Dari, remains the same with TARAS root mantra.
就是
The later part
达里也有，就是两个哈拉，就是两个哈拉也有，所以呢就是南无哈拉赫拉
has two hara, and the former part has two
实践
dari.
当中的一切这个瘟疫啊、疾病啊，就是包括一些什么这个麻风病啊，就是现在这个实践当中呢，就是经常也
This mantra can pacify deadly epidemics and sicknesses in the world.
还有那个
Even some awful diseases in the world today, such as leprosy, cancer, and AIDS, can be removed swiftly by the blessing of Tara and her mantra.
会这个迁出的啊，以前西藏我们藏地呢，就是也是有这样比较这个大家都知道的故事啊，就是说是
There is a
有一个地方
well-known
的话
story
呢，
in the
就是
Tibetan region.
出现就是瘟疫啊，
A plague struck an area that almost wiped out the entire population.
后来呢，就是他们想了一些办法，就是实在找不到一个
People tried everything to control it, but to no avail.
有一个修行人，就是闭关多年。
There was a practitioner in the mountain nearby who was in retreat for years. The villagers went to him for help. Through divination and observation, he told the people to hang the prayer flags of Tara everywhere in that region. There are not only Tara prayer flags in the Tibetan region, but prayer flags of Avalokiteshvara, Vajrasattva, etc.
就是大家就是一边就是念这个杜牧的这种这个
The local people followed the
经文，
practitioner's
还有呢
advice.
就是到处这个树上啊，就是到处都
They
就是挂
chanted
这个
praises to Tara while hanging the prayer flags widely on many places.
然后后来呢，就是风这个吹到这个旌旗的这个风所借助的
As the
当地的
flags
这个
wavered
人
in the
呢，
wind,
就是从此之后就是所有的
people
这
who
些
were
瘟疫呢
touched by the
就全
wind
部这
were
个
cured
迁
of the
出
plague.
就是全部迁出就再没有这个再没有这
And
个
no
发生
outbreak of
这种
such
这种情
diseases
况
ever
所以
happened
我
again.
们一般来讲就是出现一些这个瘟疫啊，就是出现一些非常严重的这
Hence,
种
we should
传
pray
染
to
病
Tara
就是
when
在
a
这个时
plague
候呢，
or
当然一
intractable
方面呢，
disease
就是
is
我们
going
也要
around.
看这个现在的这个医疗
At the
啊，
same
有些
time,
修行人
we
呢
should also
我
seek
生病
medical
了以后就
treatment.
一直等死，就对中医也不
Some
相信，对
practitioners
藏医也
don't
不
go
相
to the
信，
doctor
对西
but
医也不
wait to
相
die
信，其实
passively
相
when they
信呢
get
就是
sick.
不是很好的，
They
应
don't
该
trust
是对
Chinese
医药的不
medicine,
可思议的这
Tibetan
种
medicine,
能力呢，就
nor
是
Western
也
medicine.
要这个信。
This is
为什么
not
我们说是
wise.
心底里面
We
就是
should
因为
believe
就
the
是
effectiveness
是
of
诸
the
佛菩萨的
medicine.
身边也不可思议的，
It
然后
is
药
said
的力
in
量也不
Lama
可思议的，
Yangtig
还有
that
这
the
个咒语
miraculous
的能
power
力
of
也是不可
Buddhas
思议
and
的，就是说这
Bodhisattvas
个不可
is
思议的原因
inconceivable.
也在这
So
里，
are the
原因也在这
potency
里。
of
所以我
medicine
们
and
医药
mantras.
呢，就是有它的就是不可思议的一种这种
Similarly,
功能。还有呢，
mantras,
咒语的
both
话
the
呢，就是
mantra
包
of
括这杜牧
Tara
神
and the
咒也好，就
praises
是
to
杜
the
牧21
21
赞颂也
Taras
好，它也
have
有
their
它的就是不可
inconceivable
思议的
power
这
as
种
well.
功用就是能力。但是这种能力呢，非专业人员
Yet,
呢，就是不
such
知道。
power
比
is
如说
unknown to
从
those
来没
who
有
are
学
not
过医的人
experts
呢，
in this
然后呢，
area.
你就觉得是这个中药很
It's
奇
like
怪，就是
someone
好
who
几个
has
好几
never
个堆
learned
在
about
一起呢，怎
medicine
么会治
may
病
find
呢？
Chinese
从来
medicine
不
quite
懂这个医
odd.
的人呢，就是会可能
They
这
may
样子
wonder,
想的。
how
同样
can
的
mixed
道理，
herbs
我们
treat
现在这
illness?
个蚊子呢，就
Likewise,
是蚊
people
子
may
上呢，
wonder
这
why a
几个蚊
mantra
子为
with
什么是有
several
这么力
syllables
量？
put
前
together
一段
can
时
be
间我
so
遇到一个
powerful.
老师，就是
A
他说
while
为什
ago,
么
I
就
met
转
a
经常这样
teacher who
转有
asked,
功德啊？就是
why
然
is
后
it
后来
that
我给
turning
他
prayer
也
wheel
讲
can
了
be
讲
of
了一
great
些，因
merit?
为确实他内
I
心当中呢
explained
有一
briefly
些
to
邪
him.
见呢，就是因
He
为
was
他也
holding
不
some
懂，
wrong
就是我们
views
实践当中的
because
很
he
多
lacked
咒
a
语的
basic
作用啊，还有一
understanding
些这个
of
法
Buddhist
门的这个
teachings,
道理啊，很多道
nor
理
the
都是不
function
懂
of
的。
mantras
但
from
是
the
这一
worldly
点呢，可
perspective.
能通过就是很长时间的学习以
It
后
seems that he
才
needs to
懂的。
study
啊，
for a
我
long
从来
time
都
to
是没有
understand all of
接触
this.
过任何的这个药方的话，那就是
If I know
让我
nothing
一
about
下子
Chinese
就是浪
medicine,
借书啊。
it will
就
also
我
be
经常有时
difficult
候
for me to
看到这
accept
个
them
咒语
immediately.
的时候呢，就是很奇妙的。
But I
我
find
刚才
traditional
经
Chinese
常说了，
medicine
就是一
quite
般中医看
amazing.
病的时候呢，就是也
The
比
way
较
that the
比较
doctors
简
of
单，就
Chinese
是看肺
medicine
啊，就是看
diagnose
看就
is
是
very
舌头
simple.
看。
By looking at your tongue or your eyes,
你眼睛
they are able to know your illness
对
and
对对对
prescribe
好
herbal
就
medicines
是
accordingly.
就开个中药就很简单的，但实际上它有它的窍诀，有
Actually,
窍诀的话，
there are
不懂窍
sciences
诀的人
behind
像
the
我这样
simple way of
说这个中医
diagnosis,
不合理的
so
话，
it will
那
be
就是
unreasonable
一
for
种
those who don't
非
know
常不合
anything
理的。
about
同样的
Chinese
道理，
medicine to
我们这个对
criticize
佛
it.
教的这个非专业，
Similarly,
非
people
专
who
业人
don't
呢，
know
就觉得
about
我们佛
Buddhism
教里面只
may
只不
think
过
that
是
it's
山上有画的
meaningless
这
to
个
hang
经器啊，
prayer
手里拿
flags,
的这个
hold a
念珠啊，就
mala,
转经轮啊，
turn a
还
prayer
念
wheel,
经啊，这
and
些都是
recite
是不是一种
sutras.
多余的事？这就是我们
These activities are actually the opposite of meaningless. As materialism is deeply rooted in their minds, it is understandable that they would think this way. Yet we are fortunate to have the opportunities to learn about the logic of the blessing in Buddhism. For instance, in the essence of clear light, it introduces the benefits and the blessing of samadhi and mantra. By learning this treatise, we will understand the logic behind, and moreover, will completely accept its point, as we cannot find any refuting point at all. So, we need to admit and be open-minded with mysterious things that can't be perceived by eyes, and mystical powers that can't be touched physically. If we cannot deny the existence of these things, let alone the profound meaning of Buddha Dharma that we have not yet realized completely. As Buddhists, we must study systematically. On one hand, it can dispel our doubts and wrong views. On the other hand, when we are propagating the Dharma, people will raise questions to challenge you or just because they don't know Buddhism. In times like these, we shouldn't just keep silent or find an excuse for not answering their questions. That would be inappropriate. On the contrary, we should work through their doubts by answering questions in accordance with the Buddhist teachings. Above is C5. C6. Praise for the activity of accomplishing all Dharma activities. Homage to you, who with the set of three realities have the miraculous power to pacify. Supreme Dure, you completely destroyed the hordes of grahas, vetlas, and yakas. This is paying homage to Tara Marichi, or Droma Oseochema, Tara, rays of light. She is white in color. In her hand, she holds a utala flower upon which stands a pair of auspicious golden fish. You should be able to see it from the picture. There stand the auspicious golden fish on the flower, right? Okay.
那么这个就是这个深度母的话呢，是我们通过怎么样这个修行啊？
So how to practice this Tara?
就是这个聚光这个度母啊，就是用这个
Visualize vividly that Tara Mairichi with a set of three syllables of reality, Om Ahom. Center at Tara Mairichi's forehead is the white Om. At her throat is the red Ah. And her heart is the blue Hong. Three colors of light radiate from the syllables and touch all beings, and transform their bodies, speeches, and minds into the Vajra bodies, Vajra speeches, and Vajra minds. Who, with the set of three realities, talks about the three syllables of Om Ahom. The light of Tara Marichi have the power to bestow beings peace, have the miraculous power to pacify. What does this mean? Ordinary beings lack many qualities such as wisdom, compassion, and faith. With Tara Marichi's blessing, beings are free from afflictions and their virtues and qualities are revealed then. The light of Tara Marichi can completely destroy all kinds of evil beings in the world, such as grahas, vitalas, and yakshas. In sum, this practice is to visualize the light emanating from the three doors of Tara Marichi, which purifies the bodies, speeches, and minds of beings. As the light reaches those who create obstacles for Dharma practitioners, including non-human beings and demonic beings, we can dispel their evil thoughts and bring forth happiness both to themselves and the subjects they harm. The practice of Tara is nothing like the use of military and nuclear weapons of some countries that try to wipe out enemies in seconds. It is actually an exceptional powerful practice that frees those who seem to be destroyed by Tara from suffering. There is a story about Master Janadeva, who was a disciple of Shantideva. After studying and teaching for a long time in South India, he went to meditate in the snow mountains. When he came to a small town, the town was experiencing the harm from evil spirits. From history, we know that in ancient India, in some regions, evil spirits like Rakshas and Yakshas were rampant, and they brought great harm to people. Many people in the district died from the harm of non-human spirits. Corpses were everywhere. When the master arrived, he saw a terrible risen corpse or zombie came running. There are many folklores about zombies in the Tibetan region. In Han region, there were similar stories as well. However, there hasn't been many cases nowadays. Last year, a Dharma friend told me that he saw a corpse before he went to sleep. He was terrified that the corpse might rise at night, so he stayed up all night. Generally, such cases are rarely heard now. But in the past, zombies were nothing unheard of. Back to the story. When the zombie was running, Master Janadeva threw his purba towards the zombie on which he had recited TARAS mantra with. When his purba hit the zombie, it collapsed to the ground immediately. Yet its consciousness was transferred to the Pure Land. Through Master Janadeva's invocation to Tara, there fell a rain of nectar with the power of resurrecting the deceased, and the dead town people came to life again. This is a very unusual story, and I believe that we should pray to Tara Maharishi consistently. At Larangar, we used to recite the mantra and prayers of Tara Maharishi to dispel certain negative circumstances. In this degenerate age, we will inevitably encounter certain obstacles throughout our practices. Some think that life is full of happiness, which is not true. On the contrary, life is full of suffering. This is what all of us should acknowledge and accept. Not knowing this, we may not have the courage to face suffering when it befalls. Now, knowing that suffering is pervasive in life, what matters the most is to recognize it, deal with it, and transform it for the path of enlightenment. At this time, we need to pray to Tara so we can transform suffering and obtain real happiness with her blessing. This is the praise of the root mantra with 21 verses of homage. This is the praise of the root mantra, means that in this praise, different syllables of the root mantra, such as Tare, Dure, and Soha, appear in different verses. So, all the syllables of the root mantra are included in the praise. With 21 verses of homage means it praises the noble qualities of Tara from 21 aspects. In essence, Tara is inseparable from Samatha Bhartri. Yet, like Avalokiteshvara, who appears in various forms in front of different sentient beings, Tara has 21 forms in general. All forms of Tara can be included in these 21 forms. If we are to analyze this more specifically, there are actually infinite forms of Tara. This is the praise of the root mantra with 21 verses of homage. This phrase is always recited along with the praise. There is also a brief prayer to Tara. I pray to you, you, noble saviors Tara. May you protect us from all danger, fear, and suffering. This is called the brief prayer to Tara. If you don't have enough time to recite the praises to the 21 Taras, you can recite this short prayer often. That's the way to recite in Tibetan. As long as you're willing to, it's easy for you to pray with this prayer at any time and anywhere. Noble Savioress Tara, please be compassionate. Bless me and know me. I pray to you to protect me from all danger, fear, and suffering. Praying to Tara can protect us from suffering and fear. The Tibetan term jikdang means danger and fear. Generally, there are 8 great fears. For instance, the fear of venomous snakes, the fear of floods, the fear of fire, and the fear of elephants. Not only these great fears can be removed, fears in the modern world, such as economic crisis, can be dispelled as well. So, praying with this short prayer is crucial. Avalokiteshvara is considered as the one who helps the needy and relieves the distressed with great love and compassion. It is the same with Tara. If all of us can pray to Tara consistently, her powerful blessing will be well received and brings great benefits to many beings. Ju Mipham Rinpoche mentioned this in his merits of hundreds of mantras. He indicated that this mantra can dispel all disorientations and purify all the non-virtues. It is also the essence of the mantras of the 5 Buddha consorts. By reciting On Dare Dare Dure Soha on a regular basis, it can protect us from all disasters. In places like Taiwan and Singapore, many masters said that the more one recites this mantra, the prettier one will be. That's why many females like to recite this mantra very much. As long as you pray to Tara with either the mantra or this praise, you will fulfill your wishes and bestow all kinds of cities. The Larong Sangha will recite a brief prayer composed by Mipham Rinpoche regularly. You've recited this before, right? No? All right. Yes? You have recited the mantra for 700,000 times? That was when His Holiness Jigme Phuntsol Rinpoche was still with us, right? Every one of us had recited the Tara mantra for 700,000 times at that time. I will not request you to recite that much, but I hope that everyone could recite the Tara mantra for 10,000 times within a year. I will do this too. I would expect all of you who are here today and those who are watching the videos to at least complete the 10,000 times of Tara mantra and 100 times of the praises to the 21 Taras within a year. This is not too much for you to finish. If we recite the praises to the 21 Taras for one time at our Dharma class every day, by this rate, 100 times of accumulation will be finished in about 3 months. Whether we recite the praise together in class or you do the practice individually, together, our practice in this year will enable all participants to make an auspicious connection with Tara. I hope that all of you can join this collective practice, and I will surely join. Many signs have proven that our teaching and learning the Tara practice this time is very auspicious. As for me, I have engaged in the Tara practice since childhood. Although I didn't have significant experiences or amazing stories, I have great faith in it. So I think I'm qualified to teach you this praise. I'm kind of proud of myself with my faith in Tara. Since young, I had great joy towards this practice. In my school days, Buddhism was at a low ebb, and whoever practiced Buddhism would be expelled if caught reciting Buddhist prayers and mantras. Even at that time, I never stopped my practice and just recited silently. I have a firm faith in this practice. Now I have given the entire transmission to you, and throughout the whole teaching, I have kept praying to Tara that may Tara grant her compassionate blessing so that every one of you can receive her blessing quickly. And your wishes are fulfilled under her glorious blessing. We should also aspire to build Tara statues in Han area when there are opportunities. There are many Tara shrines in the Tibetan region. Usually, the statues of the 21 Taras are placed in a giant hall. To build such shrines in the Han region shouldn't be difficult, but I'm not sure whether Buddhist masters there have such interest or not. If statues of Tara and Padmasambhava can be placed in big cities of Han region, Buddhism would definitely flourish there. In the age of degeneration, with a swift blessing bestowed by powerful deities, favorable conditions for propagating Dharma will come together spontaneously. Our newly built shrine hall will install 3 principal statues: Buddha Shakyamuni, Tara, and Padmasambhava. I made this proposal yesterday, and the board of our academy had approved. I hope that in the future, Tara statues can be seen everywhere, and there will be more people reciting the praises to the 21 Taras. With this auspicious origination, obstacles for personal practice and Dharma propagation can be removed. Furthermore, favorable conditions will gather. Okay, let's finish here.